Welcome to the Color of Success podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Stephanie J. Wong. Daisy Jing is an OG YouTube vlogger and a mompreneur who founded and bootstrapped a now multi-million-dollar beauty product line named Banish. She has knowledge and experience in business and marketing, with their company ranking 152nd fastest growing company in Inc. 500. She was also included in Forbes 30 Under 30 in manufacturing. Just recently, she shared her passion for authenticity at a TED Talk. Well, Daisy, thank you so much for coming today on The Color of Success. It was so great that you reached out, and I'm really happy that you're here.
Thank you, Stephanie, for having me.
So I wanted to jump right in, and if you can tell us a little bit about your journey to starting Banish and what your path looked like.
Yeah, so I started Banish in 2013. I've always struggled with my skin, and acne has been a huge concern of mine. I've had it since I was 10 years old. So I tried really everything to get rid of the acne. I mean, you name it, I tried it. And I fell in this deep, dark depression of just really trying to fix my skin, and nothing seemed to work. And it's like the more advice I got, the worse my skin became. So not only did it affect me physically, but it affected me more mentally. I just told myself I was ugly, that I wasn't going to belong, that I wasn't worthy of anything because I just had all this acne on my face. So I started documenting my journey on my YouTube channel. And from there, I made a video called Growing Up Ugly, and people really loved that video, and it went viral and people related to me. And then in the meantime, I made so many different YouTube videos about skincare and skincare products. And what I realized was a lot of the ingredients in skincare are actually not necessary. Mineral oil, silicones, fragrance, artificial colors, they're just nice to have, but they don't actually do anything to your skin. They just kind of make it feel and smell good, but doesn't actually do much to your skin. In fact, my skin became allergic to a lot of those ingredients. And once I eliminated all of that and just focused on the pure ingredients, my skin immediately cleared up. So from then on, I just started concocting my own products, my own ingredients. My viewers on my YouTube channel noticed the difference. They were asking me, where did your acne go? Where did your acne scars go? And I decided to sell a few units, and the rest is history. But it was really about me trying to fix my own problem, and what was out there was just currently not working.
That resonates so much with me, and I thought you were a great fit for the show when you reached out, because I've struggled with acne since high school, and now luckily I'm able to buy the products that kind of work for me. But I did go extreme, right? I still sometimes use Retin-A just for like wrinkles, anti-wrinkles and stuff, but Retin-A, all the famous brands, and also Accutane as well.
Oh, okay.
And so that really, really helped me clear a lot, but continue to still have similar feelings as you. Like I will not go out barefaced. I just won't do it. So tell me a little bit more for you, how you view skincare as related to mental health.
Oh, for sure. Relating skin to mental health, it definitely affects you. And I don't think people realize just little comments here and there, especially when you're, a 12-year-old girl and you're trying to find yourself, they can really affect how you view yourself and how you view the world. Even someone saying like, oh, do you wash your face? It connotates that you're not cleanly, you're not hygienic, or just like little comments here and there, like pizza face, or just unsolicited advice from strangers like, oh, did you try this product? Or, oh, did you try that product? It makes you feel like, oh, wow, yeah, people do notice this stuff on me. So for me, the trauma wasn't even just the scarring on my face. It was much more so the internal lack of self-confidence and feeling like I wasn't worthy of anything. That was way more traumatic than all of this. And so what's so important for Banish is, first and foremost, we have to have the best ingredients, the best products, but also we really need to educate about mental health and trying to undo all of those negative talks and negative criticisms that we've had while having to deal with this skin condition. I mean, there's been so many studies about those who have been diagnosed with acne are 5 times more likely to develop depression in the next 5 years. It really takes a toll on how you feel about yourself, and we shouldn't discredit that in skincare.
Well, and the other thing is that there is this, I would say, unrealistic perception of what a woman looks like. I mean, I'm
Oh, for
glad there's
sure.
more Asian Americans
Yes.
in the media, but I mean, just this whole, not just the skin, but thin, kind of tall, to be on TV. I mean, things are changing, but you don't see people on TV with acne. And if there is a product out there, it's not to the extent where it's super severe.
Yeah, no, and actually, yeah, I think that's important. Like, you don't see people, right, with acne or acne scars on TV in the media, which makes you automatically think like, oh, well, if I even have any semblance of that, like I can't go into that field or I can't be considered pretty or whatnot, for sure.
What led you to be so vulnerable on camera on YouTube? I know like maybe you didn't imagine you getting all those hits, but still going on camera, being barefaced, being open about it. What made you vulnerable at that time?
Honestly, I had nothing to lose. And I think that's also why I was able to start my business. I had nothing. I had no friends. I had no money. I had nothing, no reputation. So I had nothing to lose. I didn't have a following. So if nobody found it, it would be fine. That was back then. And it's kind of funny because the more successful you get, it's like, oh, the more you have to lose. And I always have to challenge myself to keep being vulnerable because it does get harder the more you have to lose. But I think vulnerability is such an underrated part of all of us where in vulnerability, and I know Brene Brown says this, but lies our greatest strength and the ability to connect with people. And I feel like that's my ultimate gift is the ability to speak from the heart and to be very emotionally honest. And people appreciate that about me. And I wish more people could speak and talk like that because it kind of gets through the noise of everything they see on social media, right? That
Yeah.
emotional vulnerability.
I love Brene Brown, and
Mm-hmm.
I could just hear her cuss and be like, "But I don't want to effing show my bare face. Like it's still
Right.
hard."
Yeah.
But at the same time, I agree, and that's why I started the show. Right, is just to hear these vulnerable stories because people see what they want to see or see stuff on social media. Like, wow, Daisy's like super successful and probably doesn't struggle with this anymore because she created a skincare company. Do those insecurities still continue to pop up for you?
Oh, of course, all the time. It's a different type of insecurity. So now I'm very confident going barefaced without makeup. And I will admit, most of it is because my skin has cleared up significantly. I remember a long time ago, I got, a facial done on my skin and it was super red. And I went to the grocery store and I was like, I didn't want to talk or look at anyone. It just brought back all these feelings and memories of like what it was like to be so ashamed of the way I looked. And it's kind of a good, oh wow, like don't take it for granted, right? Because you kind of forget that. Now there's, I'm now there's more pressure because I'm a business owner and I have a team and I have employees. And that's also very scary too, because you don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to, excuse my language, fuck everything up or disappoint people. And that has been difficult. And you also don't see a lot of women, much less young Asian women, as entrepreneurs and successful business leaders. And so you're kind of afraid, yeah, you don't want to mess anything up and set a bad example for all of those up and coming female entrepreneurs.
How do you work through those insecurities? Because now it's not about creating the perfect product, right? You're talking about people relying on you and being able to take care of your team and so forth and yourself.
Yeah, I try not to think of it that much because if I do, I will be paralyzed and I won't be able to make decisions and I won't be able to keep going. I believe that this is my purpose in life because as I see how my life has laid out and how everything has just happened, like some superpower, whether, you want to believe in God or religion or spirituality, like made all these things line up so that this could happen. So I, without a doubt, with every single bone in my body, knows that this is my purpose. And if I believe in that wholeheartedly and follow that purpose, things will work out for me. And I can't think about what if scenarios because that will paralyze me. And I can never lean into fear. I have to lean into my purpose. So of course I get fearful. Of course I get scared, but I can't think that way because anytime you lean into fear, you always make the wrong decision. So I always think about purpose versus fear.
I'm also reading Guy Raz's How I Built This, and he differentiates between, dangerous and scary. And even though we're scared a lot of times, is it really dangerous? Probably not. And so I think that's really something to lean into when you're making these huge decisions, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you tell young or even older and those that are struggling with acne throughout their lives?
The number one thing I would tell them is that it's not as big of a deal as you think it is, as you make it out to be in your head. A lot of times people don't notice these things, or they won't remember that. So sometimes you know, let's say you have lettuce in your teeth or something, like you look at it and you're mortified and you're like, oh my God, this is like terrible. But other people, when they see it, they're going to be like, okay, she has lettuce in her teeth. And then they move on, or they think about what you're saying or look at other stuff about you or just move on with their day. Like they don't think about it. And when you realize that people don't really think about you or care about you as much as you think, it's kind of freeing. Nobody really cares about your skin, and you're letting your own thoughts and negativity hold you back from being who you are. Because even if you ask me, like, when was the last time I've seen someone with acne? I can't remember, honestly. Like, I just don't, when I see someone, I don't think about it, even though that's part of my job. Like, I just don't think about these things in people. So it's not as big of a deal as you make it seem to be in your head.
What about for kids when bullying is such a big thing, or it's been made more publicized, I would say, because bullying has always been around. But what about for the younger generation who people may say something and hyper-focus on it?
Yeah, that's hard. And that's something that like will bring me to tears. Just thinking about kids bullying one another. I have a 7-month-old daughter, and just like that is definitely not something I want her to go through. But for kids, really to know that you are perfect just the way they are, the way you are, that other people have a false sense of what it means, a false sense of what you should be, and that's their interpretation. But that doesn't make you any less of a person just because you don't fit in with what they think you should be. That's their opinion, but they have no right to make you feel bad about yourself. And I think for kids, we should always teach confidence in schools. Like I feel like in schools and for this younger generation, we should teach them how to be confident in themselves. Like we teach them everything else. Like it's not in the curriculum. So I make it a point to, when my daughter gets old enough, to let her know that she needs to learn how to be confident and have the skills to protect that part of her, because no one's going to do it for you. And, people are really mean, and social media can be mean and cruel, and really have to know how to be confident in your own skin.
Well, positive news. My daughters are teaching meditation and metacognition and self-affirmation. And so it's going in a positive direction, but I absolutely agree, because the number one thing that I tell my daughters is to be kind. And that, of course, with boundaries, and they're tough as well. But I think at the end of the day, just being confident and kind is so important, especially for our daughters.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's so like, it's a mixed bag of emotions I have, like having a daughter, because I just know all the stuff she's going to have to go through, and my struggle, my journey, and like, oh my gosh, what if she has acne? Well, I could do everything I want to protect how she's going to feel about herself. But at the end of the day, setting those messages to be confident, regardless or not if she gets acne or whatever she has to deal with.
Absolutely. So it's just kind of one of those things where teaching people boundaries and assertion, and I'm sure you've dealt with your fair share of situations where you've had to be assertive. So how do you put your foot down and let people know where your boundaries are?
This is really funny because right before this call, I had to deal with something like this. I think it's also cultural. Being Asian American female, I wasn't really taught boundaries and assertion. It was more like, do what everyone tells you to do, and don't complicate things for people, and don't make things hard for others, and blah blah blah, right? It's always about the other people in consideration.
Put your head down.
Put your head down. But as I've grown in business, especially, you do have to put your foot down, and there are boundaries. So you really have to think about where you stand, right? Like think about where you stand beforehand. And that way, when the time comes when someone crosses that boundary, you will know where you stand. If you don't know where you stand on stuff, you're just going to be all over the place, right? And then people can just step over and under and across you. So I think it's really important, even before you get in those situations, to know this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and these are the lines that will or will not be crossed.
And what do your parents think about you having started a skincare company and, 2013 to now? I mean, the longevity has been great, but what are their thoughts on it?
Yeah, so to be honest, they were scared when I first started. Just being a first generation immigrant, they're like, what are you doing? Like you're making videos on the internet. Like, what are you doing? Like, why did
You're ahead of your time. So
yeah, why did we sacrifice everything for you to just throw it all away? And so they were terrified, and I was terrified too, but I don't know, there was just something in me, like this fire, and I couldn't sleep and I couldn't do anything but make progress on the business, which I do believe that's my calling and my purpose. As Oprah says, like you have this fire in you. So I just keep doing it. So now, like, yeah, it's successful. And now they're like, oh, well, you should prioritize other things, right? It's just like you can't ever please them. And now that we're being successful, they're like, oh, money isn't everything, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's, again, just knowing what your boundaries are and knowing like your parents mean well and they love you from the way they can express love and show love. But also knowing that what they say isn't always true and that you are in control of your life and what you want from your life. That doesn't mean you don't need to, you can't respect what your parents want and respect what they say, but also know that this is your life. And I think it's really important to teach kids that their life is their own life and that they don't need to live it for their parents' life or, for anyone else's life. And I actually see that a lot in my Asian American friends. There's a lot of familial guilt and just like doing things for the approval of their parents. And I think that's something we have to learn to kind of step away from. We can respect them and honor them, but also honoring ourselves and our boundaries and what we want from our life.
And has your perspective or business practices or anything changed since having a child?
Oh my gosh. I think because I have a daughter, I was actually, to be honest, I made this YouTube video. I was actually scared of having a daughter because I was like, because I know all the stuff women we have to go through. And I know men go through their own fair share, right? But right now I can only relate to what I know. And just the pressure of, trying to be perfect and the pressure of trying to be on and beautiful. And I think what really scared me was that knowing that she's going to be judged for the way she looks over anything, over her success, her ambition, her intelligence. Unfortunately, we still live in an age where women are really judged for their appearance. I think what's really important for her is for her to be independent and to think on her own and to make her own choices in life without trying to get validation from any external circumstance. And so that's really important that you are not trying to get validation from anyone else. If you do, you're going to be in a spiral of unhappiness. So there's a quote, it's like the woman who needs no validation from anyone else is the most powerful, being on the planet. And I totally agree. That's also where her name comes from. Her name's Indy, independent. So
that's awesome.
So in terms of that, it has inspired me to also realize like I don't need validation from outside, things. Sometimes you want your business to look really sexy, right? Or sometimes you want to be 40 under 40, or you want to be Forbes magazine or whatever. But it's like, do I want to do that just for the validation from and the recognition from people I have no idea who they are? Or do I want to do something for myself? So I always think about, why am I doing this? Is this for me? Is this because I want it? Or is it because I want validation from someone or something else? And if it's the validation part, I know that's the wrong answer. Because a lot of times I think we get into the spiral of doing things to please other people.
Yeah, I really believe that sticking to a vision is one of the most important things, because if you're doing good business, if you're doing good for others and your family and friends, then hopefully it will result in the other materialistic things that happen. But staying true to your North Star is very important, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So switching gears just a little bit, transitioning into, your products, like what are 3 products or 3 things that you would incorporate or advise someone to incorporate into their skincare?
Obviously, I'm biased because I have my own line of products, but I would definitely say to do your research on the ingredients and products, see what they're for your skin, and see if you react poorly to any one of them. So one of the ingredients that I don't react well to is mineral oil. Mineral oil is actually in the La Mer cream, and it's actually in like the Shiseido under eye cream. And I was using that for so long, and I was like, why do I get these tiny little bumps under my skin all the time? And I realized, hey, it's mineral oil. So not looking at exactly at the brand of the products, but looking at the ingredient list and kind of just trying to figure out what works for you, what doesn't. The second thing is not using anything too abrasive on your skin. Sometimes people think, oh my gosh, I need to scrub every single like oil gland out. No, you're gonna exacerbate your skin, and it's gonna break out even more. And even those things like those spin brushes, I don't personally believe in them, because if you're acne prone like me, you're gonna spread all of that bacteria everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna do all that dermabrasion, it might not be good for your skin if you're acne prone. So don't think more abrasive is better, because I made that mistake and it completely scarred and ruined my skin. And then the third thing I think is vitamin C is ultimately one of the best ingredients for your skin. So we have that in our Banish oil. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, the Banish oil.
Mm-hmm.
It has pure L-ascorbic acid. We make our products fresh, so it's clear when you order it. If you order other vitamin C serums, they become orange because they're artificially colored for that purpose. But vitamin C is so good for collagen building underneath your skin. And if you use a tool like our Banisher, it'll help kind of get that vitamin C into the skin, or like a microneedling product. But it's really important that your skin can absorb what you're putting on into it, because no matter the amazing ingredients you're putting on, if your skin isn't absorbing it, if it's not working its way in, it's not going to do anything. So using a tool like the Banisher before you put on your skincare products can really help them absorb and be a lot more effective in your skin.
What is the mechanism? Is it pressing into your skin or?
Yeah, so the Banisher is our patented microneedling device, and it has, I don't know if you can tell on this light, but it has tiny little gold plated bristle. It's like kind of like Velcro, like the gold plated Velcro, and then you stamp it onto your skin, and then it pokes tiny little channels in there, and it will help stimulate collagen induction properties underneath your skin. So basically your skin interprets that tiny little hole as a wound, and it'll start closing that wound up, which will push up your skin. So it's really good for, preventing fine lines and wrinkles. After the age of 20, we lose 1% of collagen production every year. So we got to keep manually building up that collagen. It will help the Banish oil. You put the Banish oil on top after that. It will help the vitamin C and the ferulic acid and the vitamin E go in and like double time on the collagen induction process. But it's just really good for forcing your skin to build new skin faster.
So any new products that you're hoping to promote or release soon where you can get a sneak peek?
Well, our fighter gel is it's out, but it is our newest product. And I love this because I have really bad psoriasis, eczema, dry skin. I mean, using hand sanitizer all the time has just completely dried out my hands, even getting eczema on them. So this is really great. It's a gel that's based with aloe vera, and it glides onto the skin. It absorbs super quickly. It will stop any itchy, inflammation, dry skin. And it has an ingredient called dimethylsulfone, which is MSM, or a form of sulfur. And, I could go on a huge story about the benefits of sulfur in your skincare, but basically sulfur is an organic compound that reduces inflammation. So whether you have a big cystic acne going up or you have itchiness from your psoriasis, it will really help calm your skin down. It's amazing. Like, it's this miracle product that works on everything.
And what about for acne scars? Would you treat them differently than you would acute acne?
Yeah, so for acne scars, you definitely use the Banisher. What this does is, an acne scar is like this, right? Like dips down. in your skin. So what this does, it'll prick those tiny holes, and you'll put the Banish oil on top, and then your skin cells underneath will start building and building, kind of like a mattress spring, and it'll push up that mattress spring so that the acne scar is not as depressed. It'll also remove that post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, those like red marks you get after an acne. It'll be gone the next day. Like, I just love how quickly you see results, because it just works like when you sleep, because you're already pricking those little microchannels in your skin.
That's awesome. And you're doing it in a very targeted fashion, or people doing it all over their face?
Yeah, I invented the Banisher 2.0 because you can just target where you want. Because normally when I get a pimple or an acne mark, it's in one spot. I don't need to go all over my face and spread all that bacteria everywhere. So you just kind of go. If you had a pimple here and it's now healing, you just go press it in a couple times, put the Banish on top, and the next day you will see that the mark has faded.
Awesome. So then are you using the new cream on active acute acne?
So my philosophy with active acne is that once the pimple has like formed, you can't really do much about it. You just need it to go away, and then you need to treat the scarring. Once it's here, you can't do anything about it. So what we try to do is prevent it, right? If we prevent it, we're not going to have the scarring. So what I like to use is our pumpkin enzyme mask. This has glycolic acid, and glycolic acid is so good if you do have acne prone skin. So this has naturally occurring glycolic acid, and this is a chemical exfoliator. So the glycolic acid goes into your pores and like deep cleans and vacuums out that dirt, oil, and bacteria. I don't like to use physical exfoliators, like a microbead, a walnut shell, or those brushes. It's way too harsh for your skin. You're going to spread all that over. It's going to increase the probability of scarring on your skin. My skin scars all the time, so it's too harsh for my skin. So this is really good. It'll help prevent that cystic acne from forming. So for me, it's all about prevention. And if you do already have the acne, the fighter gel, as I talked about earlier, works really well because it will reduce the inflammation, so it will help calm down the acne spot. But again, once you have the acne, there's not much you can do except wait for it to go away. So what we want to do is prevent. And how do we prevent? By making sure we're not using ingredients in our skincare that's going to further cause us to break out. That's the number one thing. So whatever it is, whether it's mineral oil, fragrance, propylene glycol, silicones, petroleum-derived products, whatever it is, figure it out and then stay away from it.
So where can people find your amazing products?
Banish.com.
Yeah, I see it on the screen. That's awesome. So,
Plug right here.
Yeah. Are they in any stores or only direct to your website?
Yeah, so our business model is really unique. We make the products fresh. So therefore, we don't need to use as many preservatives. We don't need to formulate our products to withstand different temperature changes. So currently right now, how cosmetic companies formulate their products, they need to put like components of antifreeze or products to withstand, warehouses in Arizona or whatnot. You order from us, we make it, and then we ship it to you that same day. So we just use the pure ingredients. We try not to add anything extra. And that's why you can only buy us on our website. Because if you went to a retail store, we have to reformulate our products to make them last on the shelf.
Right. Then there'd be extra chemicals or ingredients.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you would like to tell our listeners and viewers today?
All this external stuff that you see like online and you read about doesn't bring happiness. You think it does. And then once you get it, you realize, oh crap, I'm like the same person I was before. So I would say listen to what makes your heart sing, and like listen to what makes you feel good. Listen to what gets you in the flow, right? Because I think being in flow is ultimately happiness. And stop thinking that all these external things, only if you had this, that your life would be so much better. Because when I had acne, I thought my life would be so much better if my skin cleared up. And while temporarily, yes, I was more confident, I still had to deal with myself and my negative feelings, right, about myself. So realize that there's no one size fits all solution for happiness. It has to come from you.
That is an amazing. And, definitely singing to your own soundtrack is really, really going to bring joy to you.
Yes, for sure.
Well, I definitely would love to try the products. And so that's awesome that you can ship it direct and everything. So I really thank you for being on the show today, because I think it's so necessary to kind of talk about, again, these both are pretty stigmatized in the Asian American community, just talking about your skin and acne. And it's a huge source of discussion. I mean, we look at Korea and everybody wants like really pale skin and,
Oh, yeah.
so it's out there. It's just, I don't know if people will always talk about it. And also the mental health piece of just what kind of implications does it mean if you don't have this kind of skin or that kind of a look.
Right.
Thank you so much, Daisy.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
I'll talk with you soon.
Okay.
I am so grateful for having a meaningful conversation today on the Color Success podcast. If you're interested in learning more about our guests, becoming a guest, would like to sponsor a show, and or learn more about my business, please visit www.drstephaniejwong.com. If you feel like doing an act of kindness, please leave a review to further spread positivity. With gratitude, Stephanie.